Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Friday stream. I'm so happy that we keep doing this. I'm so happy that you've chosen to take the time to join me in this journey in app and tech development. Today we'll be working yet again on this app. This is a real thing that is being deployed. Some people just want some inspiration, some ideas, and then they apply their cool tech ideas to them. So I've created this little app. We've created it together. We've live streamed it, where you can see the latest ideas that are in my head. There may be aspirations to this idea where everybody can submit their own. You can see who submitted it. Maybe you can follow people. Who knows? I don't think we'll create the next social network that will take over the world, but it's fun and it has like cats as a mascot. It has light and dark themes. It's everything you want, really, from a modern app. And it is in SvelteKit, and it gets the data and the authorization part with Supabase. So that's where we'll be starting with today, with a little recap of what we did in the very latest episode, which was integrate with Supabase. It used to be that all of these ideas we were taking from an awesome database, and we switched to be able to take them through Supabase. It used to be that you couldn't log in, you didn't have that functionality, and we created this little form where you can submit your email, you get a magic link, and then you're logged in for the session. Being logged in gives you the ability to like ideas. So now one of the many UX improvements that we'd be hoping to do is to show a little model to say that, hey, if you want to favorite this, then you need to sign up. It's free. Go do it. Or maybe we can persist your saved ideas in localhost and offer you the opportunity afterwards to sign in. That would be a bit more complicated, but maybe a bit nicer. You don't present the user an aggressive model telling them, you cannot do this. You should do this first. Sign up. Everybody loves signing up. So maybe we'll do that, but we'll see. So Supabase is the open source Firebase alternative, or I guess that was the initial pitch for them. I don't know if they've tweaked their pitch since. What they have and what they interest me the most, the things they provide that interest me, is that they have a Postgres database that they manage and is kind of easy to navigate and add tables and relationships and all of that, and role-level security, which we are using in this app, where if I'm logged in, I see the stars for myself, and I can create stars for myself only. So another user is not able to like favorite ideas, star ideas for me. We are achieving this thanks to Postgres and role-level security that Supabase makes kinda easy, relatively easy. I wish you could use Prisma a bit better with Supabase. I wish migrations were a bit easier with the Supabase Postgres. For example, after our latest stream, I renamed this table, which is a pivot table that maps the ideas on ID to the user that has started them with a star ID, and I called it like users to favorites pivot table or something like that. And after actually coming up with the design of adding a little star to signify the starring procedure, it's not favoriting things, it's starring things. So I wanted to rename this table to start ideas. But there is no migration process that easily works out of the box. I did try to migrate with Prisma, but then that messed up the role-level security stuff. And deploying Prisma to Vercel made too many connections happen, even though I was using PG Bouncer. Anyway, that's a super different problem to solve, maybe another day. The other thing that I was interested in, or I'm most interested in with Supabase, is the authentication stuff. So it goes hand in hand with role-level security. You can kinda easily integrate things like magic click accounts or different third-party providers, like even Apple ID Connect, Google, GitHub, that sort of thing. Thank you, Cosmic Fury. Let's see what you've got to say. Interesting. So Supabase also provides a Docker Compose file that can scaffold all the services locally via Docker in case you are interested in self-hosting, which may be the missing thing for me with making the Prisma stuff work. I'm not really sure, but definitely I am not specifying my own Docker file and spinning up anything. I am happy to leave the database live in the cloud. I delegate my deployments to either Vercel, and now my database deployments I delegate to Supabase, which is kind of neat. But there are many features that I know I'm not exploring just yet. And I guess that's part of what this stream is about. We're trying to figure out how exactly would Supabase work, and is it a relationship made in heaven, Supabase plus SvelteKit. So I suspect if I were to click here, we silently crash because, as I said, we're not authenticated. So let's try to go through the auth flow, because the first thing in the agenda is to make this flow a bit better. It doesn't have many indications of what is going on. Are you being logged in? Are you get an email? Check your email account. We will make that better. And then we'll look into refreshing the session as well, because that is something that will cut you out. I have seen that the ideas would disappear. That happened to me right before the stream, actually. I was like, oh no, it's always a bad karma to start with something breaking. So thankfully I was able to fix it. All it was is that my JWT was expired, because in our haste last time we weren't actually setting an expiry date to the cookie that we get at the end of this procedure, and we're never refreshing the session. So I was trying to log in as myself with an expired JWT, and Supabase was saying, you know, you are unauthorized and that's not valid. So I'm not going to give you any ideas, even though in incognito mode, or if I delete that cookie, then it works again. So let's see how the login flow looks. Now I've pressed entered, and it has sent me an email off screen, but there is no visual indication. So that's one thing that would be nice to see. If I click submit again, Supabase will error out and say, we already sent you an email, you should probably try to validate that. So that's the first thing that I want happening here. I want an update that we're trying to send you the email and we sent you the email successfully, or there was an error. So on screen what's happened. So all of this should be in our login.svelte file. And of course, this is very off the cuff. There is a rough agenda of what I would like to cover, but it's very exploratory. So keep contributing in the chat, ask questions if you will, and you can navigate as well how this episode goes. So this is our big form. We saw it all the time, and we never track whether we've sent it, whether we're loading, whatever it is we're doing. We have no visual idea. The user has no idea, even though we have a good idea what we're doing code-wise. We've done this before. And the way I like tracking whether the form is submitting or not is not by using is error or is loading or is whatever booleans. I like to use like a mini poor man's or woman's state machine. And to do that, I don't need to bring in a third-party library like xstate or anything else. What I need is to define my form states. And I can say that my form is either GitHub Copilot is winning as always. It's either idle, we start at idle, loading, success, that's the email sent state. And I like the last possibility for the form state to be an actual error object. And we can say that the state starts as idle, and make sure to type state to get the nice hints. And we probably want to say that if we're in the idle state, if our state equals idle, then so all of this, maybe the heading always remains. Else, do something else, and then we end the if statement. So else, what do we want to say? Else we may be in the loading state, I suppose. So let's just say we're sending you an email. So let's see what happens. If I press the button, nothing, because we're never changing from the idle state. That's where we start, and that's where we stay forever. We'll want to change to the loading state right before we use the Supabase client to send the sign-in email. So it gets to loading here, and then if we get to the error state, this should be an instance of error. We want to assign it. So my question is API error ever an instance of error? So is it a different type of error? And that's something that only the definitions may be able to answer for me. So error is an API error. It has a message and a status, right? So if no error, if there is an error, then I want to do something, or else I want the state to be weird error. I want there to be all of this. But if there is an error there, I want to create a new error again and use the error message. So if this is defined, it's an instance of API error, which has an error message. So I guess the state is always new error, and then the ternary is within this. So we have an error, then we use the error message, or we use this placeholder message, this generic message, I guess. But last time we saw that the error message may include that we have already requested this once when we've already sent an email, and we were logging this, but actually, I guess we want a specific error message here. The order of operations could be better. Let's work on that. And this else, I don't know what it's about. So if we have an error, this is never null. This should always be defined. Great. So if this includes this, or else new error with error message. All right, and then we can start scanning what either other types of errors we get. display UI accordingly. If the state is idle, we saw the form, great. If not, if the state is loading, so should this be a switch state? Is that even a thing as well? Maybe not. State equals guess it's not one word in this language. And then in the end, we can always say that if state indeed is instance of error. That was quite handy, but maybe we don't actually want this to be even bolder. Maybe strong. All right, let's try to send this message now. Just to confirm, if error, we set the state to be the error state. Else, I guess the state becomes the success. We've sent you the email, go check. Right, what happens now if I try to submit? Send you a magic email, send you a magic link. Amazing. Too good to be true. And I did get a magic link off screen. Gets me there. Which gets me back to this page for some reason, which we will find at some point. Looks like error code 404, user not found. Who does this? Who knows? But if I refresh, then maybe the cookie has been set, maybe not. Try it again, because I did send a few emails. Oh, right. Did I click the wrong link? Too many magic links in my email account. I see we no longer have the cookies from Supabase. Try it one more time. Success. I got the email in my email client. I can click. And then login happens. So why does it sometimes work? I don't know, but we'll need to figure it out for sure. The point is that on success, we have 2 cookies, and that doesn't happen by magic. We made this happen. We made this magic happen. And we are doing that in our routes auth session page. Because when we click the magic link, Supabase redirects back to our callback page here, auth/callback page, and then this thing needs to happen client-side, which because we found out that Supabase sadly gives us the access token and the refresh token and other parameters we're going to use, like the expiry, as has parameters in the URL, which we cannot access server-side. So we need to wait to go to the browser to actually see that part of the URL. So we get those two things, and then we do a post request to session to say, here's my session cookie, here's my refresh session thing to refresh the session eventually. And it gives us the instruction to set those cookies for our whole site. So the path/ is what achieves the cookies to be set throughout the whole TechieCat website. But I would love to add a max age here or an expiry date here, which we'd also need to capture, because now their expiry date is the session. These are the cookies I'm talking about, by the way. If my face was too in the way. And their expiry or their max age is for the session, which it shouldn't be. Supabase is telling us that the session is going to last for that long, so we should set it and not get into trouble if we try to use the session JWT while it has expired. So we hit this page and we should be making it to the profile page, but I suspect because we navigate client-side, we don't find the user in the session. So if we go to the profile page here, we go to the profile page here, which is where we are. You can see that we have a load method that checks to see, is there a user in the session? If there is, then the load returns at 200, so we see the page as we should, or else it redirects to the login page. And we are getting that initial redirect back to the login page. I suspect because when this happens, we'll need to maybe get the user from this request and wait for the response, so we can set the user wicket back and then navigate to the profile page, which would make this load method be happy because there will be a user in the session. That's my current suspicion of why this doesn't quite work smoothly. But since we're here, might as well show that I have managed to favorite a few ideas that works. So I will favorite the what's stopping you idea by pressing the star. And I found that sometimes this will refresh automatically for us. Other times I need to Command R to refresh and reload the page. So sometimes the first time I click it, it will update. It's SvelteKit trying to do some magic that I'm not really understanding and saying that, oh, I can figure out that now you've mutated this, so I am gonna refetch that data. But as it stands, no optimistic UI. It seems now it's consistently not updating and you need to refresh. That's something we'll work on later and make that update the moment we click. But for now, let's finish the login journey. When we are in this page, we do set the user to null, which does navigate us to the login page immediately. And that of course happens. Oops, we need the start parameter here. When we click this logout button, plonk, We hit the auth session handler with a delete method, which means it gets to here, the del handler in the same file that has the post that sets the cookies initially, but now it gives instruction to set expired cookies, which essentially deletes them from your session. So now, if I look again at my application, you can see I don't have them anymore. They've been nuked. All right, so things to check out. Question 1. Let's console log the window location has. To remember exactly what Supabase is returning here. I think it's like expiry, but maybe it's not. So we'll need to double check that. That's one thing we want to do. We want this to have the user. We want the user to be returned here, and then we want to set the user to whatever we get back, and then navigate to the profile page. But of course, our session TS has no idea what the user is, and is not returning that JSON body. So this should be the user, and let's see in our handle hook, what are we actually doing? We are using Supabase to get the user using to just get the first user, and that's it. Should definitely be getting this person by ID. So I'm just getting the first one here. Well, that's fun. That was a cost-cutting measure for sure. So there is no row level security here to tell me that I can only see the profile of me, because we do want people to be able to see other profiles. We don't want people to be able to update other users' profiles, but we want them to be able to see them because we may attach them to the IDs. This idea is by this person. So here I should be passing something to say that I want the user with a specific ID. So the autocompletion is trying to navigate me here, but it's not quite that. So auth, what does auth have? User. Oh, awesome. Thanks, docs. Ugh. Oh no. Why can't I pass my own cookie? I was so excited this exists. So I have the session here, which is just a string. I set auth there. Let's check again. This is suggesting that I don't run it server side. Is there any other user there? Interesting that the refresh session, which we may want to use, does return the user. I'm just gonna go through everything that can potentially return user. Definitely gonna be in here. Session. Nope. Right, this session may have this, and it seems I can run it client side. Is it a promise? Ah, this returns the session anyway. So Supabase session is this. Doesn't need to be awaited. And I suspect this will work. The reason we're doing this instead of just setting the whole user in the session, I suppose, is because we only want the public facing information to be in there, at least for now. So I've created, as Supabase suggests elsewhere, a special table called profiles that has some specific information that I want to expose to people. So just the display name and when the user was created and the ID. While the auth table may have other things, including the user's email, which you may not want to pass around easily. So this is why we're doing all of this, but maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe I should just be setting the user there and move on with my life, even though this user won't have the display name. So initial idea was decent. I'd say that, I'd say so. And also I found out that this you can call with maybe single instead of limit. And then no result data, return null, or else database user is this person, and alias the display name here. All right, lots of things happened. Let's see if they make a difference. We're doing all of this because we wanted our session to return the user in the body. So I was going into that file to check, how did we do it there? The answer is with this, but then we needed the user ID. And that may still be a problem. We do use the user ID when we star things. How do we get the user ID here? Let's look at our star endpoint. It's in the locals. But will they be in the locals already? since our handle hook will not have this person authenticated yet. I guess not, but we have the access token. So we can do the whole thing again. So this whole dance. This whole dance I'm trying to think how to run in the session file, the session handler. What have we put in the locals here? In the locals, we do put the ideas repo, but maybe all we need is the ideas client, the Supabase client itself. Maybe that's a decent idea. Or maybe we can create a user repo. Maybe that's it. So we have a lib repos ideas. We can copy paste that. We can say user. It will be taking a Supabase client somewhere. DB user is gonna have an ID. Let's double check that. ID display name created that. Display name created that. And that's it for now. Let's see, user repo. No interface for now. So from profiles, we want those three things. I missed the double click. This can just be a string, it's not that long. I guess I want this to be a find. But we are using this elsewhere, I've seen this before, it's from here. So all of this can kinda copy paste. There is the question of should I have camel cased the columns in my Postgres database so I wouldn't have to bother snake casing all of these, camel casing them now from a snake case. Maybe create that. Don't care for now. And this is gonna be our user or null. That feels about right. And my question may be that we can replace all of this with the method we just wrote, but could we also replace this? So if we have an access token, I guess. Seems likely. So I'm thinking find by ID, and I find by access token, find by cookie, which would be, let's sync this up. Seems about right. And then this can call itself and return whatever happens there. So all of this craziness can we replace? Where are we calling get user from cookie again? Here. Don't know why it uppercase that. We don't want that. Let's say user repo is the user repo. And the user itself user repo, and this is the access token. But what is the access token? We can actually get that. What happened there? We don't even need all of that. All right, this is upset because there is a file called active.ts where we can define all of these things. We have defined the user somewhere else. But I think TypeScript and SvelteKit will play nicer if you actually define all of this in this file, which is a bit disappointing because this file will get huge, but you gotta do what you gotta do. In any case, we want a user repo here. Users repo, profiles repo, I don't know. I'll call it user repo for now. And the user repo interface we said find by something. What was it? Find by access token. returns a user. And that's really what it needs. The other one could be a protected method. And the user, let's delete this from the types and actually define it here. But we're gonna steal it from our user repo. It's gonna be this. No need to export it as it's gonna be in the namespace. And that may give us a bit happier autocomplete. All we need is to prefix this with app user. We can say that this implements the app user repo interface. And then we get all our PHP or Java development flashbacks. And this is going to be happy again. And most importantly, the reason for all of this was that at this point, I wanted to actually find the user, and I'll find the user by awaiting locals user repo find by access token. Amazing. All right, so I think I've done all I needed to do. Thanks for the rocket, no snort. At this stage, let's see if any of it actually works. And I am sorry that I keep doing some console-based development. I love test-driven development, but maybe for streams, that's a bit too boring for you to watch. But let me know. Maybe the answer is no. Maybe you want to see that. I did get redirected back to the login page after all of this craziness. And this time I managed to not log in at all. Interesting. I will try it again, but something useful that I did manage to copy paste. They might be adding some cookies in different windows, in my different Chrome inspectors, in my different Chrome windows. This may be part of the problem, but we'll get to the bottom of it sooner or later. No more service worker stuff. What I wanted to do is paste somewhere in the session, I guess here. Oh, sorry, in the callback page. So the result of this log was all of this. We get the access token, we know that. It's this long thing. It gets an expires in, great, in seconds. The refresh token is also what we want, and it's a bearer token, classic GWT, and the type they logged in with magic link. I don't think we'll use that. So the only thing we will use is the expires in. So get value from hash, expires in, and then we can send that to our backend. To our session backend here, which may have crashed, which is why we didn't get the quickie before. But in any case, can get the expires in here and add it to the max age header. So let's refresh our memory. Like, is it uppercase? Does it have a dash? I think it does. But maybe it doesn't. Yeah, looks like it does. So now I want to say that this has max age expires in. And the session cookie, interestingly enough, I want it to expire never. Or maybe however long I've set it in Supabase. Let's Google that. That's not gonna tell me anything. It's not here. Oh well, I was hoping that much like how you can check the expiry here, you would be able to check how long the session, the refresh token lasts for. But maybe the answer is, Johnny, it lasts forever. So what are you trying to look up and check there? That could be the case. Check for cookie infinite max age. Stack Overflow. Last time that didn't work out for us. Yeah, super long one. Am I happy with that? Should I say... I guess maybe we can set how long it sets for. So 1 week in seconds. It's gonna be 60 seconds is a minute, 60 minutes is an hour, 24 is a day, 7 is a week. So let's say that the refresh lasts for a week, 2 weeks. Give you a chance that if you want to visit the site every 2 weeks, gives you a bit of a buffer there. Like every time we stream, you go there, maybe we won't stream about TechieCat 1 week. You have that buffer there. Cool, so we've implemented, so we've added the code for the expiry. I suspect this may be throw-in, like a bad Street Fighter player, Dota player, LoL player. Put in your favorite game to run on in here. So let's look at our hook again. So the ideas repo, user repo, do this. In the locals, we put the user repo, it's all good. And then, like, does this horribly crash already? Ah, the user will already be in the locals if all of this succeeds. No, it won't be because the session won't be there. fair enough. So what does find by access token do? It actually sets the auth with the access token. And then if there is no user in the session, you do this. And then we go to find by ID, which should work fine. But who knows? I've done worse things. Let's see what TypeScript is complaining this time. App user or null. App user or null. We're saying this returns a promise of either app user or null. We call this method. So what's the problem? The problem is we've defined it wrongly in our app file. We claimed this was the case. All right, I'm gonna give it one more chance. Double check for any cookies. We do have a cookie, interestingly enough. Yeah, so there must be something else we've messed up, but let's try it again. In any case, and then we can take a little small break because I forgot to set my 25-minute timer. I think we're long past. So, interestingly, session is there, but did we massively mess up how we get the user? Could be the case, because we're using methods that we don't really understand. So the first method we use that we don't really understand is this. We're saying that this returns a Supabase session. What does that mean? User is null here, which is quite interesting. How come? User is null. Do we need to await this? So this is null. Okay, that's fair enough. But what can we do with Supabase session? I guess nothing. What can we do with the client? Get user by cookie once again. Right, so this was the one that I didn't like because you need to pass the request object and the headers and all of that. But why? All you want is one cookie. Why are you doing this to me? So let's see if this will work. No, wait, I guess. Yeah, this doesn't quite work. So how, like, there must be a way, like the JWT will hold the user information there. They will have a way where you can decode the cookie. There will be something secret that I need to copy paste. That's my email. This is the user ID. So how do I decode this? I don't even need to verify the signature in this case. Invalid signature. I guess I need to add it at some point. So this decoded token does have the user ID. Let's search for decode here. Oh well. Let's take our small break. Let's move on to the... You can see my face and you can see me drinking coffee. I realized that, am I like super red, super orange? Orange would be good because that's pretty much the Svelte. And SvelteKit color. It matches my mug. Red, I don't know, maybe... Like I'd say that I've gotten some tan over the sunny days here in Barcelona. How have you been? Hope it's all been good. I will be looking at the agenda again. Healthy glow, cosmic fury. Yeah, that's exactly it. So what we've done, easy one, we've done the recap. We started with that. We've made the sign up sign in flow a bit better. So it will give us feedback when we've done something wrong, when we need to check the email, that sort of thing. We can make it even better still if we want a bit of a win, of a UI styling win. And then we will try to refresh the user session. I guess we're still working on making the sign up flow work, and we're kind of stuck into the place where I really want this ID. But is there an easy way to decode this JWT? Like I'm sure I can look into an npm library to decode JWTs. I think most of them are abandoned for like 4 years, but they do the job. So we'll see. We'll see if that would work. It would be handy as usual to say, hey, I just want to get this. Not with a debugger, I want to decode it for real. I think they have something as well that I soon press in authentication settings to verify the signature. I think they have a key somewhere in the dashboard, something that I should probably not show on stream. I was thinking it'd be here, to be honest, but it's not. I swear I've seen it somewhere. Nah. Here? Is it the same page? It's just trolling navigation. I'm caught in a loop. Help me. But yeah, this is the secret I was talking about. All right, cool. Cool. So npm decode JWT. Let's see the library. So parse, like, is that a B2A function? What exactly would we need to do? I was thinking it's not just you need like the HMAC thingies. Do I need to get the crypto packets? What exactly would I need there? Two years ago, many downloads. It says it's small. It's on the server. We can use it. And yeah, we won't be getting the verified signature unless we pass something extra, but maybe that's fine or good enough for now. So let's get this one in. And I keep forgetting what's the flavor that SvelteKit wants. Does it want everything in dev dependencies? I guess so. Everything's running through it. So we got this thing. And now we don't want any of this. What we want is decoded user, which will be a result of this. Oh, it's here. Yeah, we don't want that. We just add some credentials to our database connection, really. So if we do get things with row level security, this should make it work. But we have the decoded user, and then can pass in the decoded user sub. Right, so crazy enough to work? It looks like it did. Logged in as Johnny. Maybe you, dear chat, saw this, picked this off the corner of your eye earlier than I. So our find by access token method works. We use this in the handle hook and in the session endpoint. No proof that it works there, but I suspect it will. So let's try it again. Log out, log back in. We can add the user email there. Check my email, ignore 1 million emails that will remain unread forever. And it works. We did it. So I promise, like, even though it wasn't on screen, I didn't do anything further other than click the magic link, and then it got me there, which is quite cool. And I suspect that this would kinda work as well. So I click the star, and then I can see that it gets eventually reflected. And I went to incognito mode so that we still haven't broken this for signed-in users, for non-signed-in users, sorry. So you can still see all ideas here. You just cannot star them, which is a selling point, I guess, to make you share your email address with us. Cool. Somehow, some way, that was done. Maybe one final thing with the form, we can say again that this is the email that you should check, because maybe you've already forgotten. I know that it could happen to me. So, what we'd want would be, let me stop logging this, to have a reference to the email. So let email be a string. And then we reassign email instead of creating a new instance here. There is some validation happening here, so this shouldn't really be null, but it's, I guess, browser validation, so you never know. What? Can I pass something here to make it come to its senses? Is even possible, this scenario? Maybe not. But at this stage, you say that the email is the form email. There's no doubts anymore. And good thing is, we can actually show it in a couple places. Maybe here. And if we really want to design this without sending emails all the time, we can just hardcode success there. So go check null. We can see if that looks correct to us. Maybe we want to add like the strong tags around it. And of course, this only happens because we faked this. So let's try to do it again. Nice. And I can even brave, like clicking this here. See what happens. Not bad. Pause for applause. And there are some other solutions like the magic.link service that I keep mentioning that will do some clever stuff with the WebSockets and the polling and that sort of thing. So now you can see that I am logged into this window, which is great. But I'm still not logged in. Will I ever be able to slide this back to the other page? I think the answer is no. It's quite funny. I give up. Can open another window. So what was I saying again? That in this window we still don't know that we've been logged in. If we randomly navigate, I was thinking that this would work, but should I refresh? So that's interesting. SvelteKit won't know to run the handle hook, I guess, to do the server-side stuff, unless I refresh the page, so it won't check that again. So that's an interesting thing to note and solve at some point. But if you keep navigating, then you're still logged out. It won't sync. You'll need to manually refresh, so it will force the server to do some work again. That's quite interesting. And maybe another reason that a library service like magic.link, which does that magic WebSocket stuff, that would keep polling and update this place where you are actually sending the magic link to say that, oh, the person has logged in, they've checked their email. It's quite cool. It can even work if you open your email on your phone and then you'll see your browser syncing into the logged in state. You can achieve something like this here, but we won't do it today because it's going to be more complicated than something that you get out of the box from the other solution. But better sign up and sign in form and flow. I think we did it. Next up, how do we refresh this? So when I say this, I'm in the session, which now we've successfully managed to set to expire whenever Supabase is telling us it's going to expire, which is something we saw that we can set from the dashboard. But I think you cannot go over 7 days, so 1 week with this, which maybe is sensible. But they do give you this, which maybe has a much longer expiry, this refresh session thing that we'll try to use. And I say maybe, because I don't know. But maybe it will last forever, and it's you use it once and then you don't, you cannot use it again. It's that type of situation. Or maybe there is something else. If you know more about this, let me know. But that's the thing that I want to achieve. So if someone consistently goes into this site, like every week, I don't want them to be annoyed by having to log in every time. I want them, if they are going to this every week, I think that's more than enough. So we should refresh the session for it, make sure that their session never expires. And we should be able to do that using this refresh session token somehow. But again, it feels like this will only work if they do refresh, if they do get fresh data from the server, not when this is running like single page app mode. Oh well, one step at a time. So here, session. If there is a session, then we get the user, blah blah blah, all great. At some point in the near future, this will disappear because we've set an expiry header. So my thing is that I want to use the refresh session to get a new one of those, get a new access token. So how would that work? So if no session, then I can check just wondering, should I get both of these here, move on with my life? Maybe not. So if there is no session, I can get the refresh session. There is no refresh session, then I guess event locals user is null. And my thought is, should I get those two things, those quickie values already here, and say, maybe not. So this is definitely the case. We can refactor afterwards and make it nicer. What I'm thinking is, if there is no session and no refresh session, so neither of those quickies exist, we cannot do anything. The user will be null, or they will need to go through the login flow again. That's not that big a deal. What if there is a refresh session? So no session, but there is a refresh session. Then maybe there is something in the user repo that we can do. Find by refresh token? Maybe. So let's copy this. Let's say, what if we had a refresh token? I think the client library in Auth does have a refresh session. And let's look at the docs, which are more helpful than the docs that they have on their side, I'd say. You need to await it, and you get the user back. That's how you get the user. We should have always done this instead of decoding. Oh, guys. Maybe not. Wait a minute. So can I not give the session there? Looks like that's not what I wanted. Is there like a set session? Yeah, all right. So this one actually takes the refresh token. Great. What do I get back? A promise with the session. And the session is a thing that has an access token. Cool. It also has the expiration. So if we do set the cookie, we can. It also has the user. It's quite interesting. I think the other one was saying that maybe it has the user, maybe not. So I think in this stage we should probably log it. I don't know what this refresh token is. But we do get the session back, which is great. And do we claim that this session has like the cookie and all of that? Who knows? Let's return nothing. And then we'll force the situation and see what that console log is to figure out what does that object have inside. So no refresh session, event locals user is this. Else, then let's we need to define our interface again, to expand our interface by refresh token. Just await it, don't worry too much about it. But else, if there is a session, then I can do this thing and move on with my life. So this should work the same, but if we manually delete this cookie, we won't be waiting like 3 days for this to appear, to expire, or 1 hour, or however long it takes. Now we should be getting the console log. We did, but we did the classic of forgetting to await something. Classic. Invalid refresh token. Ha! Now we're getting somewhere. That's a bit sad. But why didn't they like it? I think the answer is because I used it before to do my console log experiment and I burned my chance. So now we need to do it again. Oh well, it happens. But yeah, maybe my console log debugging thing is gonna bite us. Right, so let's try to understand. Set session, you give the refresh token and you get this back, and you claim that right, so it's an object that has session inside it, and you claim that this has user or null. Okay, so maybe we cannot actually double check this. It will have the access token, so we can daisy chain this whole process. So in here, there's actually a session or an error. And we can say if there is a session, then we do this. Which gets us to this and does like all of the crazy things it needs to do. I suspect that this also sets the auth, so maybe we don't need it. But we can investigate when we console log this object for you. So let's try this again. So let's say we've logged out properly and try to log in again. Ta-da! Logged in, have a session, a refresh session. This never runs. Does it? Yeah, this shouldn't be running anymore. So remove the session. Now log one chance at this. Refresh. Cool. So it has the access token. It has the user, so that's pretty good. So we can actually use the expiration to set the access token again and the user itself without doing another database version, without doing anything, any decoding, I should say. Cool. And I suspect the moment I refresh or save, which will cause this to automatically refresh, I will get a log that I cannot do this again, and that I should have deleted this refresh token, because now I have a new one. So we are in this case. We can actually say find by user ID, find by ID. Great, but this will give us back the user, which is great, but we also need to return some information. We don't just need the user here. Sadly, we can't do everything by magic. We also want this access token, and we also want the new refresh token and the expires of the access token, because we want to return headers saying that you should be setting those cookies, which should override the refresh session cookie that you have and add a new session cookie for you. How do we do that? It feels we won't be in the find by refresh token, so we won't be getting a user here. But what I actually want is something that I think returns the user. That's great. Fresh token and fresh refresh token. Let's keep it in result, because we do have, yeah, maybe this user token and refresh token. And let's go to our interface to capture that a bit better. So this actually returns a user who is always a user, an access token, which is always a string, and a refresh token, which is also always a string. Is that what I claimed I wanted? Yes, the answer is yes. Where did I do all of this? I don't need to type this. Now we have the interface for all of that. We have this. Cool. So this is not happy because we want to return the user. This would never return null. We want to return the user. We want to return the access token, which will be in session access token. We want to return the refresh token, which will be in session refresh token. And I want to say throw new error, valid refresh token. Maybe you've done something naughty, who knows? Used it too much. But that should be fine. Oof, would this ever be undefined? Don't like that. But I guess if they say so, must be true. So let's update our update.ts, that maybe this is fine if it's undefined. Ah, right, but do we want this? We want to change the name of this, most likely. Because it's not going to be defined by refresh token. It's going to be user refresh session. Let's try it again. And we can think about the specifics there. Should this ever be null? Do I want this to hard crash? Probably not. So I can say that this is null, I guess. Not gonna be the end of the word. And now what I'm thinking is, do I want this to return access token and the refresh token, or do I want them to return the new cookies? And where do we add the headers? That's another question. Is it in the event has headers, I think, and then we can add them. We'll see. So, refresh session. Event request headers. Ooh, interesting. Let's go back to SvelteKit land, SvelteKit docs. Must be something there. Response header set. So it's already a headers object. And it is in the... Ooh, the response headers. Interesting. Very interesting. So we can say that the response, let's copy all of this. response, a way to resolve this event. Then in the end, done that already, just return the response. But here in this scenario, we want to set some cookie headers. How can we set multiple? There's multiple attributes. Can it be an array? Yeah, I guess I can do it twice. And what will actually be set in will be similar to this, I guess. So maybe that's what we want our refresh session to return. So I want to set a session cookie. It's be getting here somewhere. And we want to be setting a refresh cookie. Is that what we're doing in our other file? Session cookie, refresh cookie. Let's use the same names. And we probably want this to return directly those two cookies. Let's update this. Guess this will always be a string at this point. And if we go to our user, how this would actually look be this. Oh, and the expiration, of course. And then a refresh cookie is gonna be this. Different file, but we're getting there. We'll get there, don't worry. Different file, but we're getting there. I wanted to go to session and steal this. Do I have like a lib constants type of file? Oh yeah, had 1 week in seconds. It's brilliant. So here, instead of using this, let's get it out of my constants file, which I forgot we had. Save it. And also here, we can get it from that same file. And then we return both of those things. and we potentially live happily ever after. Is that true? So this becomes this, this becomes this. We set these, we don't do this. Maybe all of this kinda works. Do we want, like if you get stuck in this state, you definitely need to delete this? Or do we want to have a more nice error? Probably. Or do we do it now? Probably not. Let's go through the login flow again. Managed to log in. Oof. Interesting. We're back in that state where it thinks I'm not logged in, even though we do have a session here. And on the other window, it did somehow log me in. Then I guess if I refresh here too, it will log me out. Interesting. Well, not super surprising. It seems we're getting into that invalid refresh token scenario. So our catastrophically complex stuff here must be setting something. If no session, do this. Else, find by access token. Why is it getting there? Should have like a valid session here. Who is doing this? Who is doing refresh session? We also should remember to do this. In this case. But why are we getting here? If there is no session, but there should be a session here. Do we ever call a refresh session elsewhere? That's not us. So we only call it here. How can we possibly be getting into this scenario? Because this should be defined. If no session, only then do all of this. So how do we get there? Maybe we don't anymore. Maybe we were dreaming this. Right, we're not getting there, that's something. But still, it feels like we're in this scenario where we do have a session, we're trying to do this, but we don't quite manage. So what did we change there, if anything? Didn't change anything, surely. Hey Rasa and Albert, how are you guys doing? I'll take my little break now and then try to understand why are we not calling this anymore. I think we've done some progress so far. Before I switch to my face, we're almost done with this, and we'll see if we can even pull off the optimistic updates, do something fun there. I don't think we'll do the bonus stretch goal though. It's definitely fun to investigate Supabase and try to work a little bit on this app. I was hoping to work on it during the week, but of course life does get in the way. And on the other hand, it is fun to do this live instead of me just going through it and then showing up one day and saying, oh, here's a video, here's how you do this. There is some fun in getting behind the scenes. Speaking of which, the video on the SvelteKit endpoints is getting closer and past the halfway editing point, and I think you may be able to find it next week. My goal is definitely do it before my next vacation in 2 weeks, get it out of the way, get something out. But ideally, I'd be able to do it sooner and maybe get a smaller video out before I leave. Maybe something like Figma, like designing something fun, like the thumbnails I do for this. Could be kind of fun. But of course, keep submitting your ideas and the things to do. The thing I was planning to do today was fetch data with Google Sheets into internationalization and localization, which was a recent suggestion in the last poll. Because Google Sheets came second and there was this suggestion about international, that's why they shorthanded to I18N or whatever. So localization in I18, that's a huge subject and a super important subject. And it's not yet super solved with SvelteKit as well. I try to have a look at the threads and the suggestions by Rich that we need to do this, we can do that. And followed up on a few libraries that have been used. But to be honest, if I were to do a video or a live stream on it, at this point I would do it with Next.js. If my company or the product that I wanted to build really wanted to do internationalization, if that was a key feature that you wanted localization support like this, I would go with Next.js. I think you cannot go wrong with SvelteKit or Next.js nowadays, but Next.js specifically for that thing is already a star. They offer you more out of the box. So if it's key to your app being a success, I would go with that and give some time for Rich and the team to solve it a bit better with SvelteKit. I think if we go through it with how to do it in Next.js, then it will be easier to show like a hacky way of how I would do it as well in SvelteKit land, even if there is no official way to do it yet. But that's a story for another stream. Until then, keep submitting your ideas, because if an idea like this pops up, it may trigger me and say, oh yeah, we're definitely doing this. We almost did it today, but it was just too much work and it's something to take more seriously than cat ideas here. So I went with trying to get this in shape and merge it with the main code and the main deployment. Thanks for the love your work comment as well. All right, that gives me enough fuel to have another go. So, what's happening here? For some reason, we're back to not setting the user in the session, which happens in our huge handle file, which is getting bigger and bigger. It's quite scary. And the difference is that we are waiting to resolve the response here and returning it in the end. And we're doing this crazy if no session checks. But we should be making it here. Because there is a quickie for the session, right? We make it here, of course. And we don't even need this anymore. Oof, could it be that I've already resolved the event and then I add things to the event? That's gotta be it. That's gotta be it. Which is fine. Insert this is fine dog meme. The thing is, clearly we should do this like in the end, after we've added all our stuff to our locals. But this means that we need to do it after, and these are out of the scope. So I guess we'll just need to do some reassignment. And what does it have here? We'll just call it result. Why not? Then we also want our session cookie to be result, and our refresh cookie to be this. All right, let's do it. We're back. All right, we're logged in again. Amazing. Apple Music Beta is using Svelte. That's amazing. That is amazing. I am using Apple Music to stream the music that you should be listening now, which is quite cool. But right, we're back to having the user, and the question is, if I delete the session now, so if we pretend that it's like 3 days from now or whenever this session has expired, will the refresh session be enough to get a fresh one of these? Let's hope yes. Yes. Almost. So this isn't super promising. Looks like we're still logged in, but clearly we've done like something terribly wrong. Not terribly wrong, but quite wrong. So this craziness doesn't seem quite correct. Wonder why. How did I mess that up? It's another instance for sabotage. Sabotaging myself. So was that it? Was the curlies that messed us up here? Another chance to go through the login flow. Getting a pro at this. Becoming a pro. All right, so hopefully this just works. Back. No session anymore. We have a refresh session. We refresh the page. And I was hoping to see like a session cookie here. We have the user correctly in, but yeah, without the cookie set, this won't work for long. So what am I doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong here? Is this set? That'd be a good question. I guess the answer is no. The unfortunate truth is that I'll have to go through the flow again. So thanks for sticking with me. See the undefined value as well. So what else could we be doing wrong? So the result here should have a session cookie and a refresh cookie. Should be strings. Looks all fine and dandy. And we should only be setting this if this is defined, so we shouldn't be doing anything like too funky. And as a refresher, when we refresh session, we do this, we do this, and I haven't seen the invalid refresh token recently. So I think that's fine. So session cookie, refresh cookie. These are the things that our method returns. Let's see if we make it here. Definitely do not make it there when there is no session, which is good. Go through this again.
Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take.
I wonder if me having like a million windows open may play a part. Who knows? Nothing funky yet. Only no session, there is a refresh session, so funky stuff to be expected. Set session cookie, session equals this. They look legit to me, so there must be something I'm doing wrong here with how I set the headers. Because everything else is going fine. But this is not. So SvelteKit here, set custom headers. Search more for cookie, I guess. Not enough. Don't want to set them here. Is it just the case that in here I cannot set another set cookie header? Is it just not possible? Should I put away my foolish ambitions? Should I put my foolish ambitions to rest? Maybe. I refuse to believe so. So let's look at it again. Here we set a set cookie headers. Nothing else sets a set cookie header besides this, but we're not hitting this endpoint or that endpoint directly, so we shouldn't be overriding that stuff. That should be fine. And yet, I guess I can have a look at the network. There are too many things here. But maybe it will tell us what headers we did get back. So let's go through one more time again. And we may be able to do the optimistic updates. This works just fine. Let's go to the network tab and try to see if I refresh here. What do I get in the about page? Well, I wouldn't be getting any headers, would I? Have my regular cookies, but nothing for wait a minute. I am setting the response header, so that's fine. The response is just HTML. Is that the case? Is it because the response is HTML, it's not gonna set a cookie like that? Is that just not how the internet works? Maybe. Maybe I can only do this in response to like a backend request. Yeah, that's definitely something to debug offline, I'd say. Or something else could get us unstuck. So this, I'm leaving it untick for now. Let's try to make this update correctly. So I click the star if I'm logged in, and it updates without me needing to refresh the page. And this may be simple because it's Svelte, or it could be like super hard because I don't really know what I'm doing. Let's see. So we have this idea card component. And in order to achieve this favorite star functionality, whatever you want to call it, we have two forms. If this is already starred, then we're sending a delete request, a post that with this little hack becomes really a delete request, to unstar that idea. But if it's not started already, then we send a regular post request into the idea/star, the ID of the idea, and that makes it become all starred and good. Now, there is a chance that some shadow endpoint SvelteKit magic may be happening there to automatically refresh this page if I return a parcel from this, but I'm not gonna do it now. What I am gonna try is that after I click the, well, either of those, maybe the unstar to star is more fun. So for the handle star, I want to say that the start becomes true. And that's the point where will SvelteKit make this just work? Maybe. So let's click this. It's interesting that, did you see it flashing over there? So if I do it here, now it stayed, and it stayed forever. So let's unstar a few. That one unstarred by itself. So there must be something competing. Like this SvelteKit may be trying to do some magic there and do this for myself in a better way. So the unstar, even though I didn't do anything, it knows that it should invalidate it. Sometimes, but not always. Interesting. And something that I did fear is that it won't respect the start equals true for too long. So we may need to do this a bit more properly. What we've done so far is that we're hitting the ideas star bespoke endpoint. And I'm wondering if we had like a handler where we sent a parcel of the idea of what we want to change, of what to update, would it magically understand that there is some cache invalidation happening and do it for us? Then again, the shadow endpoint for this is the ideas.ts, and I wouldn't be sending the whole list of everything I wanted to be like starred or not. That'd be not great. So who knows? But maybe it is enough for Svelte to know that it should invalidate the idea with a specific ID. I'm not sure. One question is, what does star return? Let's see, maybe that plays a part into things. Star ID. So it just returns as 201. It's possibly null. Great. So we can say the status for one is enough. And maybe it would help SvelteKit if I return the whole idea from that. Could that be true? So let's look at our ideas repo. And look at what our star idea is doing. It's returning true, which is something, I guess. But is it a classic case of there's been some cache invalidation happening? hardest things in engineering. It does get a 304 not modified, which is not really true, because the data afterwards, has different ideas. So quite interesting. First time it will refetch the data for me. But then it's like, nah, I've done this for you before. I'm not gonna do it every time. And that's where I'm thinking, is the naming magic the thing that's stopping us? Maybe. Do I need to define the method to start the idea here? Probably not, because it's just a vanilla form that can work without JavaScript. But I can see the attention span dropping, so let's try to make this initial animation that seems to work every time a bit better. And we can figure it out eventually. So in the idea card, we can say if we make the full star be on top of the empty star, maybe we can create like a nice little animation for us. Let's see. Let's give the Z index Z0. My dream with this is that I click and this takes a while to draw in. And that's a great case for Svelte transitions. So let's find some code to copy paste. I don't know if it will work as nicely, because I don't know if my thing has a stroke path like this. I'm looking for the draw. Only on DOM elements, they say. Interesting. So this is not a DOM element because it's a SvelteKit element. So really quickly, let's go to this. The full star SVG. And try to copy this for now and see if we can make this work. And put this draw thing into the path. And not use this, but actually copy these class with the title. So this should make it draw the path, but it's not actually doing it, which is not great. Should I have this lower? Don't think so. Don't actually remember what triggers the SvelteKit transitions. Oh well, worth a shot. Can I apply a class just for one second? Or following CSS animation, maybe that'd be fun. I always like the ping, which I think I've hidden in this app here, which I may want to recreate, but I wouldn't want it to happen all the time. I want it to happen a few times and then be done with it. This does nothing because position does nothing here. Animate ping here will do something. It is gonna look cool. But I don't want it to look like this all the time. I want it to disappear on a timer. Do I need this star? Like if I didn't have this. Yeah, it wouldn't look as good. So this looks good. If you actually tap and you do this, it'd be cool to have it play once. And maybe the arbitrary values is the way to go. Have they done this yet? So recreating this may be cool. And it will play once, but I'm just trying to find out, is there an easy way to recreate the lovely ping effect that they have? Is it just a transform? Ah, I have it here. That's cool. So they must have defined all of this somewhere. And all we need to do is add it without the infinite. Let's see if we can do that. We want to copy the ping. Cool. Will it actually work? It kinda works, everything replays, it looks like. It's quite fun. But that's also a thing to redo on another day when we figure out the loading. So you get all the data, so all of these re-renders, I guess. That will be key to figuring this out. Alright, let's go back to our thing. We came close to this, but I couldn't figure out how to set the headers in this part, in the hook that we have. So in our handle hook, all of this happens just fine, but actually trying to set a set cookie header here doesn't seem to do anything, or I'm not doing it correctly enough. Having another look, maybe having a freeze break would help us get through that hump, but for now, that's the thing that remains to be done there. And in the optimistic updates from, it will work once. So first time I click, it will update, but every other time I click, it will not. And we try to put a little animation there, but it seems SvelteKit will render everything when the first the form first gets submitted. And that may be key to solving this puzzle of why this only updates the first time and not every other time. Who knows? I do know that I did have fun today, as I mentioned before. There is the endpoints video that I've mentioned a few times. I think it's finally happening. But in any case, let me know what you'd like to see in the following next Friday's Coding and Chill. I did say today that maybe the internal, as I said, localization is gonna happen at some point. Could be next week, but you have your say. Tell me your ideas. Tell me you think, yeah, internationalization and localization sounds good, or you want to see more of this stuff, or you want to see layouts or anything else. Next.js, whatever is on your mind. Let me know. Until then, hope you've enjoyed as much as I did spending this time trying to figure Supabase out, animations out, SvelteKit out. I do think they go well together, and I'm excited to work on this app more. Last chance for any more comments. I will push the code that we've amassed today into a branch. I think it needs a bit more work for it to be more cleaned up and merged to the main branch. It also has a few differences to the thing I'm gonna be showing in the video. So I think it makes sense to keep it in a branch for now, but have a look at the description, click the links there, find the branch, and play with that code yourself. Raise an issue, suggest your own ideas. Alright, I think this is gonna be it. It's been another long one today, and it's been very educational for me, and hopefully a little bit for you. Have a lovely Friday. I will see you around.